Okay, so before I start going through your papers and assigning grades, I want you to go through this video and do a last review and make sure that things are done correctly. So first, up here in the header section, you should just have your last name. So it should just be the last name and then the page number. Okay? Make sure that's done correctly. And then over here, sorry about that. Okay, so get rid of the section where it says your name. Get rid of this section where it says professor. And it should be M-R-S. Okay, get rid of this. All right. And you should not have extra spaces here. So, and then it should be centered. Oops, not that one. This one should be centered. Shouldn't have an extra space here. All right, so now when we talk about Erikson's stage, don't put quotation marks around them. Again, make sure this word is spelled out. You don't have what was I going to say? You don't have abbreviations in formal writing. So in Erikson's stage, I have experience as initiative versus guilt, and then you should be, and then you explain what the stage is. This is when. So you need to actually go back to actively learn, right? Initiative versus guilt is when children want to start asserting control over their world, right? So this is when kids want to start being in control of their lives. Put it in your own words. Or if this is industry versus inferiority, this is when children start to compare themselves with others and they want to see how good they are at something. And identity versus role confusion, this is when kids are trying to figure out who they are. So you have to state what that stage is in your own words. Then start going into your story. So when I was 3 or 6 or 5, I wanted to start being in control of my life. Although here when it says the conflict I faced was when I couldn't tie a shoe. Now remember, this stage is when kids want to assert control. So maybe asserting control is starting to take care of myself when I dressed myself. And so the way that I did that would be I had to learn how to tie my shoe. Okay? So again, how is it you are asserting control over your life? So make sure that your story applies to the definition. Okay? All right. Then say that, like if you say that I never learned how to tie my shoe, then I started having feelings of guilt because I was a burden on others who had to always tie it for me. Or I did learn how to tie my shoe, and that is when I knew that I was capable of accomplishing things. So make sure that your story actually applies to this definition: initiating activities and asserting control. I am in control of myself. Or industry versus inferiority. I wanted to be as good as my peers in something. Or this is when I started wondering what's important to me. Okay, so your story has to apply to this, right? Okay. And then at the end of that one, if you're successful, right, what you gained. If not, what you gained. Don't say you got both. I got this and that, right? You're supposed to get one or the other. Then, of course, go on to the Marcia level. Pick one. Okay. So again, the Marcia status level, this is when you are questioning but not committing. And so what is it you are questioning? So at this point, right here it says exploring, experimenting with different values, beliefs, and goals. So what is it you're questioning? I was questioning my goals in life. So what is it you are questioning? It's got to go back to something that you've specifically listed. Okay? All right, so make sure that you go through, and remember, moratorium, you don't commit. right? So if you're saying I'm committing, then that's identity achievement. So make sure whatever you put here applies to identity moratorium. So go through here, make sure all of this is done correctly, that you've done this correctly and that, because part of this assignment is how well can you follow directions. Okay, so again, go through this video slowly, read, listen to it, pause it, fix your writing. Okay.